a stranger with a gun came upon 2 teens taking pictures under a rising full moon. But violence is only the beginning of this story.
Sometimes I thought, there are no miracles. Yeah, there are, and this is a big one.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and I've spent my career talking about how lives are undone by violence. The Letter is a podcast about how lives are remade. Follow The Letter at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, welcome to Project Recovery, a podcast about addiction, but more importantly, it's about recovery. And it's brought to you by useonlyasdirected.org, where they've got a 3-part solution. It's speak out, opt out, and throw out. And we want to thank them for their sponsorship, because with their help, we're going to be able to do this a lot longer. Dr. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Hey, this is a COVID-19 check-in. We just kind of want to do a bonus episode because everybody's at home looking for things to do. So we want to give you some good news and some tips and how to help in your recovery through this kind of uncharted territory, if you will.
It really is. Nobody's been through anything like this in anybody's memory. I mean, the whole world is kind of participating in one activity, which is bizarre.
The one activity is to stay at home.
Well, hopefully, yeah. In fact, I'm pretty surprised when I keep hearing stories about people who are not doing that.
Once again, I got into a kind of another fight with my daughter because her friends were going out and they were going to go to a parking lot, and I caved. But here's what I did. So they said, hey, listen. And I had to talk to every one of her friends because they all called me. And I was like, wait a minute. Who's the adult here?
They're going to a parking lot?
So here's what they did. Because people are missing social interaction.
Right.
And so they went to a parking lot and they all stayed 6 feet away. A couple people were in their cars, a couple people in their lawn chairs. And they just sat around in it
talking
in a huge circle.
Okay.
And so I was like, I can't believe.
You know, the problem with I mean, I get it. I do get it. And if you think about, you know, I'm in my 40s, so I don't care.
You're closer to your
interaction.
50s.
In my 40s.
Okay.
And but when you're a teenager, that social interaction is like food or sleep. I mean, you really need it. And it is really hard on teenagers right now. I drive by a golf course every day when I go home, and there were, I don't know, half a dozen teenagers laying on this big hill of the golf course, like 2 inches from each other, hanging out, talking. And
that's not social distancing.
No, not at all.
So at least these kids were 6 feet away, and I actually heard my oldest daughter, which I never thought would come out of her mouth because she's a lot like me, Dad, I miss school.
Really? Yeah.
I miss school.
I've heard that. Kids I've talked to, patients of mine, I see a lot of teenagers. They are missing school. They've said they took the best part of school away from us. We still have to do the work, but we can't be around our friends.
Well, right now we're in spring break, and so my kids are supposed to be on a vacation right now, but they're stuck at my house.
Right.
And now they're doing chores, and so she was crying, and I talked to all her friends, and I said, hey, listen, if I go up there and you guys are closer than 6 feet, I'm going to be pissed, and I'm not happy about this.
Did you go up there?
I did. I went up there because I had to drop her off. She doesn't have a license.
Yeah.
So I put a lawn chair in there. We went up there. They were 6 feet away, and I mean, I didn't know what to do, man. I'm only human.
I mean, I think you probably handled it well. I would be careful, though, not to let it set a precedent where she wants to do that every day.
Well, luckily, Davis County just shut down.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, Davis County shut down.
Oh, they didn't call it off, to let me know.
Yeah, no, it's a stay-at-home order now. So
when did that happen? Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Oh.
You should watch the news. A lot's going on.
No, I don't. I don't watch the news.
Yeah, so luckily I can say, hey, no, now we can. It's an order.
So they did the stay. What do they call it? Shelter in place.
Yep.
Order yesterday?
Yep. So only essential people are supposed to be going to work and going out. You can still go to the supermarket, but they say don't make – I've seen a lot of people going multiple times. Be smart about it. Buy a week's worth of food, 2 weeks if you can, and that kind of stuff. But
I upset my kids yesterday, speaking of all this staying at home.
How?
Well, we were supposed to be – I'm Davis County. We're on spring break this week also, and we were all going to go to Disneyland.
Ooh.
And I've been putting Disneyland off. We're big Star Wars fans. And, the Star Wars land opened last year about this time or sometime last spring. And I said, no, let's wait, kids. Let's wait. It's going to be crazy crowds. And then we were going to go in the fall. And then I heard that new Star Wars ride was coming out in January. I said, let's just wait. Okay. And so we had tickets and hotel booked and everything for this week. And we had to get refunds and give everything away. So what I did yesterday, I thought would be fun, is I made pancakes in the shape of Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse pancakes.
Yeah, right? That's an easy one.
Uh-huh.
Nope, not popular in my house. Everybody said, Dad, you're just reminding us of the fact that we're not at Disneyland. You put this off. You made us put this off for a whole year.
What are we going to do? Talk about the divorce and the ex? Come on, Dad.
So I sat him down and talked about the divorce. No. So I gave him chores instead.
Wow.
Yeah, it went over well.
So you're the exact opposite of a Disneyland dad.
I was yesterday.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you guys a serious question? We got Josh producing the podcast back there. Serious question.
Okay.
Do you shave your armpits?
No.
Josh, do you shave your armpits?
Yeah, that's a hard yeah.
That's a hard yeah?
A hard yeah.
Now, let me ask you this.
Wait, is shaving the same as trimming? You got to do a little manscaping once in a while.
Yes.
So are you a manscaper or are you a straight shaver?
Both. It depends. It depends on how much time I have.
So let me paint a picture for you.
Oh, no.
Saturday night,
okay.
My girlfriend goes, hey, let's do a little manicuring. And I go, what?
Geez.
And she goes, yeah.
She's graduated from buying your clothes to now manscaping you.
So a few minutes later, as SpongeBob would say, I'm standing in the shower in my boxers, and she's got a razor.
Oh, no.
It's not as sexy as you think it was going to be.
No, it didn't sound sexy at all.
And so now she goes, everybody shaves their armpits. And I go, I'm pretty sure everybody doesn't. No. She goes, everybody shaves their armpits. And I go, I
mean, Josh also makes his own kombucha. So
yeah, so
right.
I mean, you're the...
I mean, if anything...
You're the exception to the rule.
No, come on. If I'm like a hippie with long hair and making my kombucha, I wouldn't shave my armpits.
Oh, that's a good
But
point.
why do you shave your armpits?
I don't know. It just feels...
Your generation...
feels
like,
better.
I didn't know you had to manscape until I got divorced.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to.
Yeah, it helps. It helps.
And so this whole manscaping...
This took a weird turn.
But do you guys want to see my armpits?
No, I don't.
I do.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
I'm unbuttoning my shirt.
This. I need proof.
The thing is, we have to see so much more to get to the armpits.
It's okay. I've been working out.
I like that shirt.
You have?
That's a good-looking shirt.
My girlfriend bought it.
Of course she did. And she shaved your armpits, apparently. Whoa!
Right?
Yeah, that's smooth. Silky smooth.
Yeah. I'll never unsee what we just saw.
Where was your camera then, Josh?
Well, you're not a very hairy guy, so it's like you don't have a lot of manscaping to do. Some guys, that would be a long process.
So you did the armpits, but clearly there's not like some chest hair situation. Did you do the whole 9 yards, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I stopped at the playground.
Oh my God. I'm out.
But she goes, let's do your arms and legs. And I go, nah, I think I'm good.
Legs?
Yeah, legs.
But then they get all prickly and ingrown. And
I don't know.
Why would we do that?
She just, my problem was that she said everybody. And I was like, I'm pretty sure everybody does.
I mean, it's not like she's dating...
Sasquatch.
Yeah, Sasquatch. I mean, some guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the tufts of hair coming out from underneath the collar and all that sort of stuff.
Teddy bears.
Yeah, but I don't know. What does she have to complain about?
Well, nothing now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this going to be the plan now? You have to...
I don't know what the maintenance on something like this is.
Right.
That's
my question.
I'm thinking...
Is this one and done, or...?
No, I think it's probably going to turn into like an every 3 month deal. Kind of like what I do with my hair. I cut it really short, and then I go 4 months without a haircut.
Until she complains about your mullet?
I was supposed to get a haircut today at the
Yeah.
Bombshell Studio.
Bombshell Studio?
Yeah, it's by my house.
Uh-huh.
Closed.
Well, yeah. I didn't think any of those places were still open.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm not...
She can cut your hair, though. She's a beautician.
Yeah, but she doesn't see very well. She doesn't. She listens.
Well, her clientele just...
no, I meant my girlfriend.
She doesn't see very well.
Yeah, she doesn't see very well.
Yeah, so why would she be cutting anybody's hair?
Well, she's a retired beautician.
Oh, she's retired.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, that's...
Josh could cut it. I bet Josh could cut
I
it.
could do a fade.
Can you?
Yep.
Do I want to fade?
You need a fade.
Let's get back to recovery. So what is people going on? What's going on in the recovery world right now?
Well, unfortunately, this these shelter-in-place orders, people trying to do the socially responsible thing and stay home, is resulting in, it seems like, from what we're getting on reports, an increase in problems with two unfortunate things: substance abuse, and I think what goes hand in hand with that are domestic violence calls.
You know, I was listening to the news because that's something you should do during these trying times, Dr. Matt.
Periodically.
I was driving in. Yeah, periodically. But alcohol sales are up over 40% in the state.
Right, because unfortunately people have lots of time on their hands, and I think a lot of people think, well, I could start, instead of waiting till I got home to have a beer with my dinner or something, they start drinking. Yeah, earlier.
Breakfast beer is never a good idea.
No, I wouldn't imagine. But I mean, even
only
at
second
lunch,
to the shower beer.
the shower beer.
I've had a beer in the shower multiple times.
While you shave your armpits?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're digressing. But I think a lot of that is going up. And what we found on this podcast, the opposite of addiction is connection. Well, what do you do when you can't connect? Because you can't go to your meetings. You can't go to the Narcotics Anonymous. You can't go to your Alcoholic Anonymous. You can't go to your Cocaine Anonymous. You can't go to whatever your substance is and to go get that community feeling.
Well, you can't in the way you used to. But there are, if you search online, you can find meetings that are meeting, virtually.
I wish I had stock in Zoom because it seems to be on
Zoom.
the tips of everybody's tongue.
Right.
Zoom meetings everywhere. Yeah. And so I know a lot of the places that normally had meetings, your home meetings, you can find Zoom meetings.
Right. And I highly, highly encourage people. It's not going to feel the same. It's not the same as going in and giving a hug, shaking hands, and seeing everybody and feeling the support that way. But in a way, because everyone's a little bit desperate at home, it feels good to log in and see those faces and hear people talk and share your experience. It still serves the same purpose.
Now, I do recommend that you do a video type conference.
Right.
Because that way people can see, because I think once again, we've seen on Facebook, a lot of people can hide behind the keyboard. This way they can see you. They can see what's going on, and there's a certain part of accountability to that.
And you feel better when you see their face.
Yeah.
When you hear their voice and see the emotion and feel that connection. And most of these, if you're somebody that goes to meetings regularly, most of these will be people you recognize.
Yeah, and your home group will be there. So what I do recommend is that if you find yourself in need of conversation or a connection, don't be scared to reach out to somebody, because I think a lot of people, who if you're a single person, you live in isolation already, and now you're stuck at home, that can be a very dark place and a trigger for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people feel like, well, I'm not going anywhere. What does it matter if I drink? Other people might moderate their drinking because they know they need to go somewhere, drive, go to work, see people face to face. And if you're not doing that, which frankly we shouldn't be as much as possible, it's easy to justify having a drink or those sorts of things. So I'm recommending people, and don't let technology be a hindrance to you. So something like Zoom and a lot of these meetings, any smartphone, laptop, iPad, anything that you use, it's easy as clicking the link and getting involved with a video chat.
That's exactly how easy it was. I was asked to be on Return to Real, which is Neil Anderson's podcast right here on KSL, and he said, hey, can we do it Zoom? And so they just sent me a link. I clicked on it. It popped up on my phone.
Right.
And we were off to the races.
Yeah.
My question is for you, because I know the times right now, people are kind of in just in between what's going on, and they're trying to figure it out. I know anxiety's really up in a lot of people, and the people more than ever need their therapist. And so how are you handling that in this time?
Well, as a therapist, I'm actually very busy right now, maybe even busier than normal. Through my university practice, we have a telemedicine set up where people just click a link and they use our system. In the private practice and other people that I see, I'm giving them the option of doing something like a video chat or a phone call, whatever they're most comfortable with. And so a lot of my time has been spent from my home office, chatting with people and having sessions. It's a little awkward. I prefer in person, I think, like most people would. but this is a good alternative to not meeting. And once you've had a couple visits, from the therapist's point of view, after my first day of doing a whole day of this, it kind of felt normal and fine. For you as a person calling in, talking to your therapist, after a visit or two, I think you'll realize that if you concentrate on the new medium, you'll have a good experience.
You're listening to Project Recovery. We'll be right back with more COVID-19 updates right here.
Two years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
I think the world will be forever changed, and I've said that before on a couple other podcasts. And the one thing, again, I want to reiterate is that take this time and utilize it to the best of your ability, because there's some real gifts in this time that we've been given.
Yeah. Well, I think just your first comment, I think people are going to start working at home more. I wouldn't mind doing more work at home myself. For people that enjoy, I see a lot of folks that have to drive to see me in Salt Lake from Davis County, Weber, Summit County, and some of them have said how nice it is to be able to have a video therapy session, and so I'm sure we'll keep doing more of that. But the reality is there are a lot of gifts that are available to you. I'm around my kids a lot more. They're around me. We get to have lunch together every day, breakfast together every day, and that wasn't always possible in the past. I also think that just like everything, and I've mentioned this before, a basic tenet of cognitive psychology is the following pattern: thoughts, feelings, behaviors. How I think about things, my perception, has a huge impact on my emotions, how I'm feeling, and those feelings impact what I end up doing. And so if your perception is, boy, this is awful, it's the end of the world, all that kind of stuff, then you're going to have negative feelings and your behaviors are going to be unproductive. However, if you look at it and say, yeah, there are some real challenges, of course.
We don't want to be naive.
We're not naive. So I know some people have lost jobs or limited income, and so there are definitely some problems, major problems with this staying at home. But if you also – I call it butting it. I'm a kind of an informal guy, and I'll say, yeah, that's all true, but what's a different way I could look at this? Well, the different way is I get to goof around with my kids more. I get to take them to the park more.
Clean out that office finally.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, I can't – it's been years since my home office has been this clean and well organized. Playing games, my kids and I are, I think I mentioned on another show, we're having game tournaments where you sit down and you play a game of Battleship or Sorry, and we're tallying up points and giving prizes. And hobbies, for example, things that you never thought you had time for. I talked to a guy who said he had inherited some woodworking equipment from his grandfather, and he never felt like he had time. So he's making time now to try this woodworking stuff out, and he said it's a lot of fun, something he'd always wanted to do. I know I've given you guys a hard time about reading books. Like, this is a great time to read a book.
Josh, books? What are books?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, I'll show you guys what I mean later. I'll bring one in.
Okay.
But, these are times where you can reevaluate. There are definitely problems going on. If you're somebody who is struggling with substance abuse, this is a good time to say, but I have more time to exercise. Exercise and eating right are two great ways to curb your drive to drink or use other substances at home right now while you're feeling kind of shut in. Today isn't maybe the best example with some rain, but it's a good time to get out and walk around, fly a kite, take your dog for a walk, play catch with your kids outside, that sort of thing. We are planning this weekend to get all the bikes tuned up so we can go for bike rides, that kind of stuff.
You know, I think this is probably very apropos and very fitting for this, and this is how they end all the AA meetings in the 12 steps, and it's the serenity prayer. But if you break it down, it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And think about that. There's some things that you cannot change, that we're stuck at home and we're doing this, but have the courage to change those other things, to get out of your comfort zone and try something that you normally wouldn't do. You asked me when we sat down, you said, have you picked up any new hobbies? And I haven't really, and it got me thinking, well, maybe I could. There's certain things that I could go and take this time. I have a friend, he called me the other day, and his name is Drunko.
Yeah. Did he call you up and say, hey, C-Money?
Hey, what up, C-Money? What up, Drunko? What are you doing? He goes, I just picked up some stuff. Me and my daughter are going to go home and make some bread.
There you go.
You know, and so making some bread, you know, something in the kitchen that you can get everyone involved. Cooking.
Right.
I know a lot of people are doing some cooking, and very creative cooking, because you're once again going through your cabinets going, how might I put this in
What can I use?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's like that superpower. I remember being a kid, we'd come home and there'd be an empty fridge, and we'd be like, Mom, there's nothing to cook. There's nothing to cook. And she goes, there's a ton of stuff in the fridge. And we'd open it up and goes, Mom, there's nothing in the fridge. You give her 10 minutes in that fridge, she'd whip up something amazing. And we're like, how did you do that?
Right.
So we could all learn that superpower of combining ingredients and making some savory dishes.
Yeah, my daughter, when I cleaned out the office, there were a bunch of art supplies, and she saw those sitting outside the office door and took them up to her room, and she's been painting in different, kind of mediums and on different things. And so art, cooking, gardening. I know that this weekend Ashley and I are planning on doing some, putting some seeds in to start.
Have you ever thought of a salsa garden?
Yeah, we talked about that, actually.
Yeah.
Doing a salsa garden would be a lot of fun. And so, I mean, there are a lot of things that you can do if you don't get bogged down in the negativity of what's going on. Back to that prayer, the first part of it is accept the things you can't change. And that's actually a lot harder. We kind of skip over that part, but acceptance allows us to detach from things. If you can't accept that this is going on, you're going to be in conflict with it. You're going to be upset every day. You're going to wake up and be upset that this is going on in the world and that you have to stay home. If you can accept it, it allows you to kind of sidestep it like a bullfighter and move forward to the things you can change, to detach from the negativity. And it's a challenge. Sometimes you need to talk with other people about that. So 2 things I've been recommending a lot lately are, whether it's on the phone or a video, FaceTime, whatever, reach out to people that you don't normally talk to, friends, family, and just talk. You don't have to share anything too personal, but having that connection is important. The other one, though, is journaling. And I don't give this recommendation lightly because I hate writing things down myself. Mm-hmm. It's a hassle. But taking a few minutes, if you're struggling at home right now, if you would take a few minutes once a day, I mean 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. And if you were just to journal some of your thoughts and feelings. Now, this is not a journal that you're going to pass on to your grandchildren. This is just you dumping your thoughts and feelings about what's going on.
What's so therapeutic about dumping those thoughts and feelings?
It allows you to, number one, get them out of your head and analyze them. When we say things and hear ourselves say them, or if we write things down and read what we've written, it gives us a second chance to kind of analyze and understand them better.
Okay.
And holding in thoughts and feelings creates a certain amount of psychological and physical tension. You feel tense. And when you let them go, your body relaxes and your mind relaxes. And you're able to see solutions more easily. I think everybody's had the experience when you have something heavy on your mind and it's pinging around in there and you don't quite know what to do with it and you talk it out with somebody, all of a sudden solutions pop up that you didn't know. And it may not come from the other person. It's just your own ability to analyze it in a different way.
And so for those who are maybe self-isolating and forced to do this, this would be a way to get a different perspective.
Journaling is a great way to get some of those thoughts and feelings out so that we can accept what's going on and move past it and engage with some of the positive opportunities that we have. Not everybody's going to get closer as a family during this time, but some will.
Yeah.
And if you make it your goal, you will.
And the last thing I want to touch on before we end this bonus episode of Project Recovery is, for me, I've said often on our podcast that working out is therapeutic to me. It's vital to my recovery. Now, with all the gyms shut down, a lot of people are finding that they're not able to go to the gym and get out of their head and figure things out. So I do encourage you. There's a bunch of stuff online that Return to Real. They have a workout that he posts every day on his Instagram, so you can check that out at GPP Fitness. And so there's a lot of those things, but keep a routine as much as possible. I know it's hard to do in these times, but don't.
I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, I have more time in the morning than I've ever had in years. And being able to get up, the tendency for people right now is going to be to get lazy.
And turn on the news.
Stay up late, overeat, sleep in late. But if you can discipline yourself to get to bed at a good time, get up at a good time, you'll find that you have extra time to go for a walk. You can definitely look up home workouts. I usually recommend games. Try to make working out fun. Get that basketball out and play hoops in the driveway.
A little lightning?
Yeah, play some lightning. Heck yeah. And do those sorts of things. Make exercise fun. If you'll stick to a routine, you could come out of this healthier, more fit than when you went into it, instead of all the memes where everybody's getting
And
fat.
how ironic would that be?
Right. But I mean, there's no reason you can't. You have more time to exercise. You have more time to cook and eat right, skipping all the fast food and all those things that maybe were a temptation in the past. I mean, potentially this could be mentally, physically, and socially very healthy for us within our family if we can look past the inconveniences of it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we want to do here, and we just wanted to touch base with everybody and check in and see how everybody's doing. And once again, Project Recovery wants to be a resource for you. Of course, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. You can reach out and we'll be there for you, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Yeah,
we'd love to be able to answer questions. You mentioned one thing, and since our show's main focus really is
my armpits.
Today it has been, which has been really nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
substance abuse, and armpits.
They both stink.
Yeah, boy, nice tie-in. I know that alcohol sales are up, but if you are in recovery, I would make sure that those people in your home are willing to be on board with you and maybe not keep any alcohol at home.
Yeah.
It's just too tempting to be home 24/7 and have that going. So if you're married to someone or living with someone who has struggled with that, maybe you could do a favor and not be bringing it home.
I agree 100%. Thank you, Dr. Matt. Thank you, Josh. And thank you to useonlyasdirected.org, and we want to thank them for their sponsorship. You've been listening to a bonus episode of Project Recovery, a KSL podcast.
The contents of this program are for informational purposes only. The program is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician, licensed therapist, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard on this program. KSL does not recommend or endorse any specific tests, physicians, products, procedures, opinions, or other information that may be mentioned on the program. Reliance on any information provided on the program is solely at your own risk.